Welcome to New York's #2 sports show. A huge win for the Rangers. They shut out the Carolina Hurricanes 1-0. Igor Shesterkin with back-to-back shutouts. And the only goal was scored by Adam Fox, who was just unbelievable in this game. Now the Rangers are 10-1 on the second game of a back-to-back. They are now 6 points ahead of Carolina with 17 games to go. Both teams have 17 games left. And that's the last game against Carolina this season. Just a gigantic win in many, many ways. As far as trying to win this division, this win went a long way, and winning it in regulation as well. I mean, Igor was just brilliant, but I thought the Rangers played a pretty good game. Really strong first period from the Rangers. Carolina was definitely the better team the second. In the third period, for a little bit, it kind of went back and forth as far as high danger chances, but ultimately Rangers clamped down and really did a great job. I can't say enough about just the team effort, but just the defensemen specifically. So obviously Igor is the story, but Adam Fox was just unbelievable. And there's a lot of storylines when it comes to Fox. The fact that he was on Carolina, and the Hurricanes traded him to the Rangers because they knew that he wasn't going to go there. So there's that part of it. But also, let's not forget earlier in the season, on November 2nd, that's when Fox got hurt from what was kind of a questionable hit from Sebastian Aho. So there's that. His defensive partner, Ryan Lindgren, I thought had a really good game. And look, Lindgren, I think this season has not been up to standard with what we're used to with Lindgren. I don't think he's been bad. Some Ranger fans might agree. I think he's been fine, but I do think that he hasn't been quite as stout. But this was an example. This was playoff style. Ryan Lindgren was really, really good in this game. That pair was great. And then the other top four pair was tremendous. K'Andre Miller and Braden Schneider. That's a really good duo. And it brings me to Jacob Trouba. Trouba out in a lot of ways is addition by subtraction. But, I think that Trouba, we know he's going to be back in the lineup. Obviously, when he comes back, he will be in. There isn't even a question about that. And we know that Zach Jones will be the one taken out. We'll get to the third pair and how they did. But Trouba, you got to at least try him with Gustafsson. At least give it a shot. I have a bad feeling that won't happen. And they're just going to go straight to K'Andre Miller with Trouba. Because it makes Miller's game worse. And Trouba's just logging too many important minutes. This has been a great test. Think about it. For Braden Schneider, this is huge. This is the first time I'd say that we've seen him really, step up in a much bigger role. He played 21 minutes and 13 seconds tonight. That's got to be up there for some of the most minutes he's played in the game in the NHL. We normally see him more, probably averages around 15, when he's on that third pair, probably around 15 minutes or so, give or take. So, and he was great. So, and Braden Schneider is someone that I've been critical of, I'd say, the last couple of seasons, and the fact that I feel he hasn't really necessarily evolved at all, but that's what it is. You give a player more responsibility and they can thrive, and that's what's happened. And K'Andre Miller was great. A little bit of a dumb icing at the end of the game where, with 6 seconds left. That probably wasn't smart, but he was just a beast in this one. And then the third pair I thought was pretty good too. I mean, Zach Jones, Eric Gustafsson. Gustafsson drew a couple of penalties. I thought he was good. And Zach Jones, I didn't think he was bad, right? I mean, ideally he wouldn't be playing a game like this, but I thought that he was good. You know what I'm noticing too with Trouba out? Overall, more speed. I mean, obviously we know Jones has some speed, but just the speed of the defenseman and the pace is just such a difference. With Trouba, everything is slowed down. So, yeah, I really liked what I saw from that unit specifically, from Fox on down. And then forwards-wise, pretty good effort. The goal was scored from the Zibanejad line. And, and the way it happened was almost somewhat similar to the Zibanejad goal from last game, where, Roslovic kind of gets in on the defender, a little bit of pressure, causes, kind of a turnover, and it ends up in the back of the opposition's net. So I think Mika has been good lately. like specifically. And Kreider was good as well. I thought, responsible defensively. I thought Kreider was all in, and so was Zibanejad. So when those two are locked in and ready, like that makes such a difference. And Roslovic, I think, has been a good addition to that line. I noticed some turnovers. I noticed there's some things that I'm picking up on that could be somewhat problematic. That said, I think it's been more good than bad. But I think that he, and look, he's acclimating himself to a new team. So, I think Roslovic has been a good addition to that line, and hopefully he can clean a few things up. As far as the Trocheck line, and it's funny with Vincent Trocheck, if you're a Carolina fan, it's like, that's a tough one to have him leave as a free agent and sign with really arguably your biggest rival's not the right word, but some of your toughest competition in division. I mean, the Rangers beat Carolina a few years ago, won it in 7 games at Carolina for Game 7, and Trocheck then goes on and comes to the Rangers. And that signing was really huge for the Rangers, but not only because it helps them, but because it hurts Carolina. That's a big loss for them. And I remember he was one of the better players in that series for the Hurricanes. So, Trocheck, who honestly, he was good. I've been so accustomed to him having like such good games. I didn't feel like he was necessarily a standout, but was really good. Panarin, you'd like to see him get on the score sheet. He was fine, and I feel like there was that one in the third period where he's kind of going in all alone. I wish he went in with a little more speed. I wouldn't have minded him shooting it. He sets up Trocheck, a great setup, but I think he made it a little bit too easy for Kochetkov. But no real issues with Panarin. But I know as far as my fandom goes, once the playoffs come around, you got to throw everything aside as far as Panarin, because he's got to get it done in the playoffs. So I am going to hold him to a very high standard, and almost more so because of the great season he's had. Moving on to the Wenberg line, I thought that line was really good. I like Alex Wenberg a lot. So in terms of comparing Wenberg or Roslovic, yeah, Wenberg's been very, very solid, and really is a major, major addition to that third line. So I think that the three of them, they've been maybe my favorite line in the last. And that's not an easy thing to say because really all of the lines have been contributing. But even though we haven't seen them score, they've been good. A lot of possession in the opposition zones. So I think Wenberg's been really good. And then the fourth line. And I hadn't even brought this up yet. So Matt Rempe was suspended for 4 games. I figured he'd be suspended. I thought at the high end it would be 4. I think I had said in the last episode, 2 to 4 games. I thought that it would be closer to 2 than 4. I did, but I think they're just trying to just send the message that, hey, this can't be happening. So it's maybe slightly harsh. It was a definite suspension, and it's 4 games. So I think that, hopefully he can kind of learn from this. And I think that he could be really, honestly, a major asset to this fourth line, because what I want to say is Brodzinski definitely is worse. And, I gave Brodzinski a lot of praise at a time when that line with Cooley and Kakko was doing well, but now it's at the point where Brodzinski definitely should be the healthy scratch. Within a 7-game series, if he's in there a couple of games, fine. Anything more than that isn't great. I'm not saying his liability. He has speed. On a fourth line situation, you could do a lot worse, right? But he really is a 13th forward. That's what he is. So Rempe, as I see it, if he can play smart, I think he is, better to have in the lineup for sure. And maybe that opinion will change, but I think I'm looking forward to Rempe being back in there. And as far as the rest of the line, again, I think Goodrow has been better lately. It's unfortunate. His offensive stats are really, really bad. The contract's really, really bad. But credit where it's due. I think he's been, fairly solid the last few games. So let's discuss this one. And there's not going to be a whole lot of specific detail to get into. But first period, quick penalty for the Rangers. The only penalty they would take on the night. 59 seconds in, VZ interferes with Jesper Fast. And I thought that Jesper Fast, as he kind of does in big games, I thought Fox was one of the better Hurricanes. He was kind of buzzing around. He's an annoying player to play against, and I know, he is someone that, is definitely capable of scoring some big goals for Carolina. We saw it last season. I mean, not against the Rangers, but in the 2023 playoffs for the Hurricanes, Fox had a lot of big goals for Carolina. But yeah, Rangers kill it off, and that was important. Last thing you wanted to do is have Carolina score a goal early. Of note, it was the debut for Jake Gensel with the Hurricanes, and so a little bit of a different look. Gensel, they have Evgeny Kuznetsov now, so it's different, but it almost it's less star power. But these guys have won cups and have been key parts of their teams winning cups. But yeah, it almost reminds you a little bit of last year when the Rangers got Tarasenko and Kane. It doesn't always work out. Although, look, these are, especially in the case of Gensel, good additions for a Carolina team that really is, I think, starving for true offensive firepower. So it's a little bit different for the Carolina Hurricanes. But Rangers kill that off. Then at 13-15, Svechnikov interferes with Eric Gustafsson. So interestingly enough, there was only 2 Carolina penalties in this game. Gustafsson drew both of them, which shouldn't go unnoticed. But the Ranger power play, Carolina's got a great penalty kill, and the Ranger power play could not quite break through. But the first period, as it's moving along, the Rangers, it was really good. 11 shots to 5 Rangers. And so they kind of carried over what they did the night before against the Devils into this game. And I thought that, again, as that period kept moving forward, they were improving. And it was a really nice shift from the Wenberg line. But ultimately what happens is the only goal of the game is with 8 seconds left in the first. It's Adam Fox with his 11th goal of the season from Kreider and Lindgren. So what happens is, again, you get pressure by Roslovic. I think Mika might have been in there a little bit. And the Rangers gain possession of the puck. Lindgren takes a shot from the point. And I guess it must have been deflected, but because Kreider got an assist. So Kreider must have gotten a piece of it. And it goes to Fox. And he's such a smart player. For someone who's so deliberate and kind of more slow and methodical moving, he knew the period was coming to an end. I got to put this puck on net. And Roslovic was kind of in there. And what happens is Fox takes a shot, and it goes off of former Ranger Brady Shea's skate and past Kochetkov. So kind of a bad break for Shea, but it kind of adds to the sweetness of this win, the fact that it went off of Shea's skate. And so the Rangers take a 1-0 lead, and they would end up winning by that score. But really good first period for the Rangers. Second period was much better for Carolina. Rangers had to survive at times. It started out good for the Rangers. At 1:31, Kuznetsov trips Gustafsson. And that Ranger power play, the first 30 seconds were good, but then it was really bad. And Carolina, there were some dangerous moments, and I would say, especially as the period moved along. So what was good for the Rangers in the first kind of was the opposite way for Carolina. And interestingly enough, in the shots, so how the Rangers, I said, won the shot count 11-5 in the first. Carolina won it 11-5 in the second. But the Rangers were able to survive. A lot of good saves by Igor. And so to save 1-0. Third period, this was where in the beginning, like the first 5 to 10 minutes, I guess, all of a sudden, offensive chances break out. Odd man rushes the other way, which isn't what the Rangers want, as the team having the 1-0 lead. And both teams had really good opportunities, but nothing to show for it. And it was a good game for Kochetkov, too. He really kept Carolina in it, but Igor was just so locked in. And with Igor, he has not allowed a goal since that bad Ryan Lomberg goal against the Panthers. So he has been so good. What is he? He's about 9-1-1 in his last 11 games, something to that effect, maybe even slightly better. And the only, and that includes that outdoor game in terms of the numbers. His numbers are insane. I think it's to the point now, I think he's close to a .914 save percentage, which is hard to think about. He was below 900 in save percentage about a month ago. And he's been, that's the thing with him. He reminds you just how good he can be. And this is the goalie that would take the Rangers to the promised land, as good as Jonathan Quick has been. And look, maybe he will play a little bit of a role if Igor is struggling, right? I don't rule that out. That could maybe happen, but Igor is going to be the one that's going to do it. And it's just been unbelievable. Like I said, that really bad goal against the Panthers, and some bad moments in that outdoor game, which is a weird environment. Besides that, the guy has been just unstoppable for over a month, for really since the All-Star break. That's really what it's been. And so it's been over a month now. So yeah, Rangers, things get interesting as the last few minutes happen. Carolina pulls the goalie. Some frustrating icings by the Rangers. VZ had one of them, but like that's okay. You know, if you play it smart, I don't have a major problem with that. But yeah, not gonna, you know, harp on it too much. But yeah, Keandre had one late, but just such a good job. Again, the Lindgren-Fox pair, the Miller-Schneider pair down the stretch were just brilliant. I can't say enough about them. But yeah, Rangers win 1-0. And as far as the overall standings, it's kind of amazing. And as I'm recording this, Florida Panthers are just, you know, they are just so good in the fact that Dallas was up 3-0 against the Panthers. And as I conclude this recording, the game won't be over, but Florida was down 3-0. They were down 3-1 going to the third and have reeled off 3 goals at Dallas. I mean, Dallas is one of the best teams in the league, and at 11:09, 14-minute mark, and probably close to the 15-16-minute mark, just 3 goals in quick succession. It just reminds you, because, you know, I was going to talk about how the Rangers are and they are close to the Panthers, but now it looks like they're going to win that game. So if they do win, the Rangers will be 4 points back, and the Rangers will have a game in hand. And remember, in about a week and a half or so, one more game against the Panthers at home for the Rangers. So not that the division's over, it's not, but this was a huge win. 6 points up on Carolina, 17 games to go. The Rangers do legitimately have the leg up. If it went the other way, this was going to be kind of a dogfight the rest of the way, and one in which maybe you could have given the edge to Carolina, possibly. I think that their remaining schedule is slightly easier than the Rangers. But now with this result, the division is looking good, not over. And so it makes me kind of look to the overall standings, and Florida still, out of everyone, is just a little bit ahead of the competition. And further to the point with what they're doing at Dallas. So the next Ranger game will be at Tampa. Rangers have played them twice already this season, won both games, and did it in pretty impressive fashion. I think it'll be Igor. That would be my hunch, but with the work that he did tonight, maybe they go to Quick. But if I had to lean, I'd say it'd be Shesterkin. The Lightning haven't played in a while, so they'll be pretty well rested, and it's a very big game for the Lightning. They, you know, right now they'd be in the playoffs, but it's no guarantee they get in. And Tampa Bay is a much better home team. Even though the Rangers really had a great game, that last game of 2023, where the Rangers went into Tampa and Igor outplayed Vasilevsky, but Tampa is a good home team. So this could be tough, especially with the Carolina game. But I'm sure the Rangers have matched up well against the Lightning, besides that unfortunate 2022 Eastern Conference final. The Rangers have done well against Lightning. And not only that, that could very well be a playoff preview. As you look at the standings, I would not be surprised at all if it ends up being Rangers Lightning. That's just the way that it's looking. Still, you know, look, we still got about a month to go, but something to think about as well. But a really exciting playoff-style win for the Rangers. Igor Shesterkin, back-to-back shutouts. Adam Fox gets the only goal. Just a great effort from the Rangers. They win a very, very important divisional matchup, going to Carolina, shutting them out by a score of 1-0.